Okay, guys, Elliot Wave Sage. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for education and entertainment purposes only. So the Monday, yeah, Monday, everyone's so scared. Oh my God. But I look, 300 points. Oh, it's nothing. That's nothing. Wake me up when it's 3,000 points, guys. We saw back in March 2020. I mean, this will go down in the thousands of points when it really collapses. But the VIX has to build up to that level. I don't think the market mechanics will allow us to go from 0 to 100 like that. Now, it might. It could. I'm not going to say I don't have evidence. Just so I think the VIX will slowly build to that level. So the next level for the VIX is 40, 50, which should be about a 5%-ish drop in the indices. Should not be circuit breaker level. So I think we saw like 2%, 3, almost 2. So the next target you'll want to see, which we might see Monday, maybe 4 to 5%. Then the VIX you would think would consolidate. And then if you're going to get a bigger crash, the VIX will go to 70, 80. Then you'll get circuit breakers. Then you'll get the 8%, 9% day. And then if it can go higher from there, you'll get the 1987 style crash, the unthinkable. I think it builds. I don't think it just goes from 0 to 100. So, but this isn't good, right? What's happening right now is I think the unthinkable scenario, the flat is in play because of the Japanese index, guys. Uh, I go back to the Japanese index. I showed this chart a long time ago before we even knew what the yen carry trade was. And this seemed unthinkable, but I'm like, hey, this is the chart. I can't think of any other chart, and it shows it's like a wipeout. So how would a wipeout start? Just like we're seeing now. Okay, so if we look at the Japanese index, we have 3 waves up, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and now we're just straight down. If we break this trend line, it's game over. It's confirmed. The B is in. The flat is in. There is no impulse off the low, guys. There is no impulse. It is a flat all the way. And maybe even a wedge with an overthrow. I mean, I just report the weather. I don't make it. I don't know why. I don't know why would, maybe it's a carry trade gone wrong. Maybe it's something else. But I think you got to stay alert to this. The weekly cycle in Japan is clearly broke, so it's correcting this whole leg right now. Let's go to the monthly cycle. The monthly cycle will confirm the flat is in play we're close. Can it find support on this trend line? It has to. So I think because if this is in play, then the world markets are in a flat as well, and the unthinkable is going to happen. This is where we should bounce, by the way. It looks like we're just going to go through it and test this trend line here, which tests the monthly RSI trend line. So this is going to be the moment of truth right here in the Japanese market. If it falls through that, it's game over, guys. And it's going to be a calamity in the markets, I think. But maybe it can bounce and get that 5th wave and negate the flat. We'll have to wait and see, but very, very treacherous market, and I'm just going to point out some things that, I won't go through all of it. I'll go right to your questions. And, the Japanese yen is getting close to an area where it could bounce with weakness, right? So if the yen strength is causing this, you would think there's a relief rally coming, but there's never, well, probably won't be that big, but we'll have a relief rally of some kind soon. So if you believe that this is driving the market, then you would expect the market to rally soon. So just showing that. Now, it can always extend and unravel and negate this chart, but I'm just showing you the setup. But I won't be taking this trade. I'm not catching a falling knife. Okay, but I'll just show it. Oil looks like it's going to start its journey, and like I said, when it breaks out of the pattern, usually it's a crash. Usually the IWM, or let's go to the Russell. I think it's safe to say the top is in, and the Russell should be making this move lower. It looks like, again, like a wedge with an overthrow, and we're about to break down the trend line. Once this trend line breaks, I think that X is in, and it's just going to take its journey lower but it's probably going to do it in a dramatic fashion like we saw there, more than likely. So I know this is hard to hear news for people to hear. They don't want to hear it because it's hard to believe a drop like this could be coming. And, you know, don't get mad at me for reporting the news. Just don't follow me if you don't want to hear this information. I just want to share it because I think this is where we're headed. So we have 3 down, 3 down. So the moment of truth for the SPY will be here. Now, if we drop to 480, if we get that 5 or 6% drop, and we drop down to there and come, then you have to start thinking the flats in play in the indices. You have to. You can't be. I mean, the 4 could. I mean, it could extend, but again, we only have 3 up. The Dow Jones has a very unusual structure. I've been having a hard time deciphering it, but I found one that works. I'll share it with you, and sadly, it's the bearish interpretation. I still don't want to trade the Dow Jones just in case this is wrong, but the way I look at it again, just a different look at it. I took another look at this because I could not get this chart to look right. You have a 3, a connector, and 3 for W, an A and a B. So you need an impulse up. You get a 1, 2, 3. And what this is a 4, a triangle 4. And it makes so much sense now. Now the counts all work. 1, 2, 3 for A, 1, 2, 3 for B. Okay. 1, 2, 3 for C, 1, 2, 3 for D. And then you have E. And then you have an impulse up. And it's finished. If that's the case, we should drop down to here pretty quickly. That'd be a pretty big drop. We won't know. Now it looks like it's this is obviously the pre-market. Now the futures has broke through, so we have to wait and see. So the Dow Jones, this is the only pattern that makes sense to me. Everything else I would be violating Elliott wave theory unless I try to label this as a very bullish count, which it does not go jive with the entire market. So I'm not going to label that. I got to label it like this as I see it. But I won't trade it. I'm not going to short it. I'm just going to leave it there for education and entertainment purposes. I'll just say that, and then maybe we'll be entertained later as this plays out. Of course, we make the high, it's negated. It's gone. And then we have to go back to the bullish chart that's actually pretty bullish, because I can't come up with another chart because it's different than the SPY and Qs. The Qs could still be, like a 4 and a 5. Like we could still extend, this could be an extension of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? The SPY could still be this 4 like I have it. But I can't get that. So what I want to say is get defensive a little bit. Be careful out there. Buying the dip could be catching a falling knife. You really want to watch the VIX to look for when, and I guess the yen now, when to look for it. So I would like to take this trade in the VIX. I doubt it's going to do this looking at what's happening now. It looks like it's just going to continue higher tomorrow. But if for some reason the market wants to recover, I'd like to take the long. I like to do a long on the VIX here, and you can play it through UVIX or UVXY if it could drop. If for some reason there's a sucker's rally for whatever reason in the morning, but I don't think that's looking at the case. Bitcoin has got an important pivot it needs to hold here. I'll just show the bit more bearish chart. If this breaks, the next area to buy it would be at 48,003, 42,000. And it really has to hold 38,000, I would say, or the flat is in play for Bitcoin, the unthinkable chart, the crypto collapse. And I'll just leave it at that. But for now, we'll just kind of call the 3 waves, and hopefully we can find buyers here. I think it's likely it's going to break this low. ETH did break this low today. This should go a lot lower. I'm thinking it's going to test $2,000, and then if it breaks 2,000, it could be a waterfall, uncontrollable sell-in event in ETH. And again, I'm just reporting the weather. You guys, I'm a weather forecaster. Don't shoot the weatherman. If it's telling you something you don't want to hear, just unsubscribe and don't follow me. I got to tell you what I think, or you'll end up losing your money. I'm not a perma bull. I'm not sitting here to say buy the dip and just, this is the best buying opportunity in your life. I'm telling you what I think of the market. There's bullish people out there you can follow that will give you some other your bullish counts. But the thing is we're seeing so much intense selling, especially in this some of the foreign market, like especially like Japan. It's creating a situation that could create a really big drop. We're not seeing the wave fives materialize. The wave fives aren't happening, guys. At some point, you got to call the flats. All you bulls out there that want a wave four, at some point the wave four is too big, and you have to have some intellectual honesty and say there is no wave four. The wave four is not happening. It's a three-wave move. It was always a flat. Just so at some point you got to fold them. All right, let's go to super chats, guys, and go to your questions. Eddie O, VJZ. Let's see what we have here. And like I always do, I always go to all your super chats, and we'll answer your questions. And it's amazing how quick the market conditions changed. But we knew we were close to a top. Now, I'm not ready to call the entire super cycle over, but I mean, man, we gotta keep an eye on things because Japan's probably the clue if that trend line breaks. Okay, VJZ. So again, anytime I see charts like this, it's always like bullish from the low. But let's go to a higher time frame. Yeah, it's just too bearish to even worry about the labeling there. We're just going to go to the shorter time frame off the low and see where we can chart off of this low. So it does not look like five waves. You don't have any divergence. So this looks like a corrective bounce. This looks like another corrective bounce within this corrective wave. You may actually see a double correction in this. Something like this may play out. And then it's back to, to hell, I guess, with this stock. Goes down to hell here. So I'm just showing you kind of what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing here. I think it's something like that. So this low has to hold at 30 cents, or the charts negate it, and then it's probably this is the peak, and you have some kind of 1 2 1 2, and it'll be a collapse because this pump reset this cycle. So I think you can go with this, but you have to understand, like, given the market conditions, I think taking a long trade is dangerous. It could easily become a 1 2 1 2 and then just collapse. So you really don't have a lot of clues here. Now this looks like 1 2 1 2. See all these overlapping waves with a big push lower. So that is not good here. So actually, looking at it a second time, it looks like a WXY correction here within this wave, not an ABC. So that may support the case for more upside later. But like I said, any upside trades are super dangerous right now, given the market conditions. Spotify, I think that was one we did good at. We called the bottom here. Got this pump. Now, I had this 1 2 here. It's probably in a flat in 2, right? Like the rest of the market. Again, A, B. So we're looking to come back down to 247 or lower in a flat correction. I'll show the area where you could find support potentially. Right here, 246. Or right here, yeah, right here. But as you know, flats could just keep going down as long as it's above this low. There's a lot of white space that can correct. A lot of white space out there that it can correct. But I've had this chart labeled. We pretty much nailed this trade. This does look like a bottom, a nice three-wave bottom. So this flat should be supported somewhere for more upside in the future. That's what I'm saying, guys. There could be a lot of pain coming, but the future should be bright. Pain is coming. Future, pretty good. Path to get there, very painful, possibly. Okay, that's all I'm saying here. All right, Edward, let's take a look at your stocks. CCI, J&J. Doesn't look like we have that one. Crown Castle. So that's like some kind of running flat there. And then you have to call that like a 3, 4, 5. Like you'll have to call it like that probably. Looks like wave 5 is in a ABC correction. Let's go to a little bit shorter time frame. So no divergence. So actually it'll be a 3-wave move off of this connector here. So this could actually be the low right there. Let's just take a look and see where it ended up. See, we missed our target. Yeah, that's the connector. So technically that's a low, so I would expect more upside off of this low, but don't be surprised if the low fails one day. And as we see, it could go a lot higher. Let's see here, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's just a real tight X wave in that. So I would just, let's say, bullish from that low. Let's look here. See, no bullish divergence. So it is a corrective bounce that should have one more swing. But like I suspected, it's probably going to fail and go for another leg lower later. So it may reverse right here and take a whole nother leg lower. Is what I'm thinking. Okay. Good luck on that. J&J. Called to wave 3. And looks like it's a defensive play right now. So it's either a connector wave. So this is no longer valid. So that's a low. So it's either a connector. And if this breaks, it's going to go a lot lower. It'll probably come back down to this March 2020 low. So I think you just, again, we don't know what the market's gonna do, precisely, but it looks like to me, you're finished this wave 3. It looks like 5 swings up is done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that would be 3. So now, like I keep saying, you need a 4 and a 5 to confirm the low. If you don't get that, it's a corrective bounce and it will collapse. So I just don't know. You have bearish divergence, so I would expect a pullback in 4. And whether you get 5 or not is anyone's guess, but you'll have to decide what you want to do on that. And then NEE, Nextera Energy. I have to get it. So we had the buy area here. Went a little bit deeper than we thought, but that's okay. And we did make 5. Looks like did we get 5? We got 5 on that. Although that's only 3 up, but that's okay as long as we saw the 5th swing. So I would say that this looks like it's done 5 waves. Maybe 5 can go a little higher, but then of course it's due for a pullback. right? It's got to pull back, probably back down to $63 before it can continue higher. Let's look just for a bit bearish scenario. So here you only have 3 waves down. If the 5 pushes up a little bit more, it's possible you got something like let's see here, like W, X, Y, and this was A, B, C. So there is a really bearish situation. If this was a big connector that takes out this low, and there's really, this would be too shallow for that in my mind, but if 5 could push up to this area, then you do need to worry about that given the market conditions right now. But let's look here. That's pretty big capitulation, so you would have to take that out. So chances are this low will hold. So I would say that this is the most likely path what I have here. Thanks for the super chat. All right, let's keep going. Bama, GDX, let's take a look at that. So we went to a more conservative count on a lot of our metals. Silver's another one, canary in the coal mine. If we can't make another swing higher, if we break that low. So again, we're looking for this pullback down to this area. Hopefully it finds support at 32, 31, right in here around this wave 4. But we really don't know until till this plays out more. It's too early. But it's obviously, look, it's making the move. And look what's happening tonight. So it looks like I see 3 swings. And hopefully we'll get that. And then you'll have to decide if you want to take a stab at buying that there or not. And this would be, this could be, like I said, I think not all sectors are going to collapse. Like I think there is a big risk off moment happening. But I do believe when rates bottom, and they will take a journey higher, I believe energy will bottom and go into wave 3 of a super cycle degree, advance, uranium, miners like we're seeing, and possibly gold and silver, the metal itself, with other commodities, which is essentially a stagflation trade. Well, I think the other indices continue the meltdown. That's what I think is kind of the phase, but we're in the deflationary panic phase where everything's going to get hit. But then I do think there'll be buying opportunities that people are going to kind of have to stick their neck out. And I'd rather not buy. I'm not going to be a buyer of Apple and Facebook and Amazon and Tesla. I'm going to be a buyer of energy, of OIH, of Schlumberger. I'm going to be a buyer of Chevron. I'm going to be a buyer of the GDX. I'm going to be a buyer of URA. All the shit that nobody owns. That's what I want to own. I want to think stagflation as the real killer. That's what I'm thinking. With the dollar index still got more meltdown coming, rates will go higher, the indices lower. That's what I'm thinking. So that's why I'd rather pull the trigger on something like this than, oh, I got to buy Apple. Oh my God, I got to get in Apple. I'm in love with Apple so much. Oh my God, I got to buy. Screw Apple. Screw the 7, the mega cap tech. I'm not going to take my chance. I'd rather take my chances in stuff that hasn't really pumped, that has a lot of support technically. Okay, that's what I'm saying. All right, ARIS. Let's go to ARIS here. Water solutions. Okay, some kind of industrial play maybe. Let's take a look. So you have this third swing down. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like you have 5 up here of some kind. And it looks like you got a nice 3-wave move down. And then you built up 5 waves. I mean, this is a perfect pattern. But as you know, once you make 5 waves, you got to go down. So I believe you're going down. So could find support around 1298, but that's pretty quick considering this took almost 2 years. So I would expect, to take a little bit of time, but it doesn't have to. But there really is no setup. But I would say it seems pretty likely that you've topped out here. The weekly cycle is about to break if it hasn't already. Once you get that weekly cycle break, that would confirm to me the 2 is in. And you'll have to look for a nice 3-wave move to try to find where the 2 is. It's really not going to be able to tell. It's too early. But it looks like it's topped to me. Thanks for the big super chat, by the way. I really appreciate that. All right, Corwin, let's go to you. Nvidia Grand Super Cycle. Yeah, so Nvidia, if my count is right, we should actually find support eventually to go higher. That's why I keep saying the market should be okay. But let's just take a bigger picture look at what I have. I have it right now, and it's hard to see it, but it's like a 1, 2, 3. We're in this big higher degree 4, a 5, another 3, another massive 4, and a 5. So I think you're going to get like violent action and then a calamity. Then it's like wipeout. That's what I'm thinking. Now, could it be 5 up? And if this is 5 up and it's wrong, and again, it's possible because here's your peak RSI. If I have this labeled wrong, and I'll relabel it real quick. Again, I'll show you. This isn't my primary view, but it's possible. You have the .com bubble. Okay, whatever. 1, 2. Then you have 3, 4, 5. And this is an extended fifth that rivals any altcoin extended fifth you've ever seen. If that's the case, we'll come all the way back down to here and just go below it. $7, which remember pre-split was probably like $70, under 100. So is it that? No way. You can't say that. Like you just can't say that, because even on the quarterly, you're way off the low, but by the time you get down there, it'll be too late, so it does you no good. So there's really no way of knowing, but you obviously are correcting a pretty big cycle, right? You're correcting this leg, but I think this leg is within a bigger sequence that should extend, because the other option is just catastrophe, right? That's a catastrophic meltdown. And they pump this stuff up to the point of beyond like almost South Sea bubble. So here's the count. So this is the count I'm going with. So we're looking for somewhere around $80, $70, and then we rally, maybe just break the high. We top out again in a higher degree 3, and then another big drop. Now, this wave that we're in now pairs up with this 2. This 2 went from November 21 to October 22. It took almost 1 year. This wave 4 started in June. This could take a while. This could take a while to play out. It may not just be done, like this may take quite a while. So it takes time. And then this 4 is paired up with think the .com bust, which took years to correct. So this could take years of consolidation. So we may see a top-in process Nvidia that takes years to play out with marginal highs. In other words, the easy money's over. Now there's a tradable, sure. If you can get in here, there's a trade here. But it could be very messy and overlapping waves. I think there's no more easy pump if it can't even do this 5. And like I said, if it's the extended fifth scenario, then we'll just collapse through this in a blink of an eye. The triple Qs, bull bear scenario. So the triple Qs has a couple scenarios. Of course, we've already topped in 5. This is my primary view right now, where you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, And this fifth wave has come up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have we have confirmation? Not quite, but the monthly cycle has broke. We haven't closed the month yet, so there's a chance they could try to save it. But looking at everything, I think technology is probably entering a bear market. However, I do think we'll bounce here at 410. But don't be surprised if that bounce fails and forms the right shoulder, back test this trend line, and then has a collapse, an epic collapse. That's what I'm thinking. But that's the bearish case. So the bearish case does have a tradable bounce if you're brave enough to take it in here, right around 410. If we can push down that level, okay. And the futures are getting worse as we speak. This needs to come down in 3 waves. This could be the connector with a big meltdown, maybe tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe in the next couple days, and then we find buyers come back in, dip buyer crowd, and like I do think we should bounce here. We should, right? But if it is something unprecedented, don't want to catch a falling knife either. So you got to be really careful. Okay, you got to be careful buying dips on these higher degree corrections that we may be in. The bull scenario is we're still extended in 5, and what this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Find support maybe at 435, and then you make a 5, and then you top. Okay, and then of course there's Moon Boy, and I think that's as unreal. That's not realistic. I think Moon Boy scenario is a perma bull scenario. It's a delusional scenario, but hey, it makes us feel good. A 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And we find support where I say it was going to bounce right at 410, and then it goes like parabolic, like way high, 700, 800, and wave 3 of 3. That's Moon Boy. So Moon Boy would be buy in here, could be you're buying Moon Boy. So you know if you believe in Moon Boy, this is where you go in with your whole stack, right? I guess this is where the bulls will put their whole stack in. Because if you're a Moon Boy, this is probably the best chance you'll ever get to get back in the market again. But it's actually probably one of the highest risks entries you could take. So if you believe in that, Moon Boy, go for it. Put your whole stack in. Let's see it. Let's see what you got. I doubt it's going to happen. I think this is a delusional count that perma bulls have developed to talk themselves into holding through this. I think Warren Buffett's our biggest fundamental investor that has mastered the market, and he's getting out at the top. He got in at the bottom of 09. He was the only one buying stocks. He bought Bank of America, watched him bail out a lot of companies and stuff. He's getting out now. I mean, he's not stupid, right? You think you're going to outsmart the best fundamental investor that's existed in our market since all of us were born? Probably not. I'm just saying, guys. Moon Boy scenario, I think, is delusional, but that's just my belief. Will I take a trade here? I may play along here. What the hell? Why not? But I'm not going to put my whole stack in. No way. I'll put something in though. I'll play something here, but I'm expecting to lose 15% of it if I'm wrong, quickly. But I will play something here. Why not? And I'll probably try to play it through TQQ down in this area. Is where I'm thinking. And we'll see what happens. And then lastly, Lily. So Lily topped at wave 5 on my account, and that's played out like we have expected. And we were calling wave 5 weeks and weeks ago in Lily. And we formed a shallow connector, I believe. We'll break this low tomorrow. We're looking for $650 as a first area to bounce. But since it's correct in the grand super cycle, more than likely that bounce will fail. So I'll just show the bounce. That bounce should fail somewhere. And then you could probably make the low. Thinking 494 as the area. You got this gap. Probably like you got the long-term trend line here. That's probably where it's going. Excuse me, something like that. Clove. Looks like we nailed this one. Another one. Let's just do the wave count and update it. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Wait a minute. We got lost here for a minute. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, we'll just put that here. There we go. There we go. So it seems like it wants to push higher, but as we know, let's take a look at what we have. We do have like 5 up here. We don't have 5 up here. I don't see 5 unless I have this mislabeled right down here as not an extension. Let's look at the RSI for clues. Okay, it's got to bounce tomorrow. And I mean, does that have earnings tomorrow? Well, what do you know? Maybe its earnings is going to save it. It's got to bounce tomorrow, and you do have a news event that could usurp the market, right? Because if it's really good, maybe you know, like there was some green stocks on Friday. I mean, this could be one of them. I don't know, but if this is labeled instead of a 1 2 1 2, if I put this as a 3 4 and then relabeled it, the 3 would be here, and then I could have a big corrective bounce, and then it could have a big drop. So, you know, again, it's like, are you picking up pennies in front of a steamroller? Because even if you get this 5, you're not going to get much more out of it before you get another 4. So you're going to get something like this if this is right. And if it's wrong, you're risking a big drop tomorrow, probably on earnings. And that means this wasn't an extension like I have here. So I think it's a tough call, but I'll just leave it like this, and you'll have to make a decision. But it's probably too late if earnings was in the afternoon, after market close. Yeah, I would watch how this trades tomorrow. Let's look at this 4 wave. There's your connector. There's your low. So yeah, I think if you break this low at 163, I don't think the 4. I think you got to be careful of having this 4. But this is something you're just going to have to decide on your own. This is a tough call. See, it could actually still drop lower. It could drop to 158, 153 possibly. It could still do this. So yeah, maybe you could still, if you could drop hard and keep your divergence erased, maybe you get lucky with earnings and get this 5th wave. All right, Anonymous, let's look at CLSK. Assuming Bitcoin goes to 80 or 90K, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that real quick for you. And let's see. So again, assuming everything is okay with CLSK and we find another high, I don't associate it with the price of Bitcoin. It's irrelevant to me. I just trade the chart. So you would see another swing higher. So you would see, you know, prices go to $33, $38. And then if we could break this high, you could see 46.94. Possibly that would be 3 up, and if you made an impulse up, you would make it up to 57. I think we must have done that before. So I think what you're hoping for is like a 1 2 3 4 5. That's what you're hoping for in CLSK. I mean, it's a beautiful pattern that could finish and really create a lot of upside potential. Looks pretty good, huh? All right, but let's look at this correction real quick. So this W had a lot of swings in it, but definitely you saw a nice 3 swings. You don't even have a bounce yet. So you're going to need a bounce and a failure. So my guess, again, I'm just guessing here, but what I think you're going to see is this come down, and you're going to see a bounce. you know, and the bounce will fail for the low. I think that's what you're going to see, something like that. So I think if you buy it here off of a straight down, just looking at this way, it just seems like that's too quick. It's not big enough. Like it needs to rally and fail before I think this is finished. This leg is finished, is what I'm thinking. You have a gap here, so just understand that with CLSK. Yeah, so I showed a Bitcoin chart that just to give you guys, I'm not saying it's going to do it. This is just for education and your entertainment purposes, what I'm showing here on Bitcoin. Oh, did we break that tonight? We just must have broken up while we were on our call. Look at that. So the chart is it's in. So this is the chart, guys. We broke the pivot. So that's a big technical fail of Bitcoin today. So this chart is now in play. And we have an ABC connector. We have 3 down in W. And now you should get 3 down in Y. Just like I said before, a bounce and a failure. Just like you see how complicated this is and how much time it took. It should do the same thing here. It should do the same thing here. You know, that's what, something like that. That's what you're hoping for if you're bullish Bitcoin. But now that we broke this low, we have to think of an unthinkable thought, guys. And guys, I'm just forecasting the weather. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't scream at me. Don't send me DMs, that are nasty, because I have to show you guys this. I have to show it to you because I wouldn't be doing a good job. This could be a flat. We talked about this before, right? And then this is 3 connector flat, and then you have W, X, Y, and we come back to retest this low. How do we know that's going to happen? We have to break, I think, this trend line and 38,000. So it's you're going to have to lose a lot of, like, we won't know until we're down in the low 30s that this is in play, the flat. So you really don't know. I mean, we could look at the higher time frames and see. We already knew the weekly cycle broke down. The monthly cycle could be a clue if we break. It looks like we're about to break that monthly cycle here. Let's see. We're right on it. It needs to be saved. We break the monthly cycle, there's a good chance that this scenario is in play in crypto now. Just saying, but I wouldn't bet my money. I wouldn't go max short. I wouldn't sell it. I'm just saying that it's more likely than not with the cycle break on the monthly. But if you do believe that this discount is not valid and crypto hasn't ended its major cycle, you would want to say it's this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a 1, 2 out, and the 2 comes back to the 4. So this is elegant technically. This is technical elegance right here for continuation in crypto. So I did follow some guys that said they're putting their whole stack in if it comes back to 42,000. Now I will never recommend that, but they're so confident in the upside. That's what they want to do. But I think you should be more cautious because this is kind of a stretch and we erase divergence, right? This is a correct, usually in my system, you have bearish divergence, you don't. So this could be a very corrective wave. So I'm forcing an Elliott wave label in here that kind of goes against my system. So that's why I'm actually not going to label it. I'm just going to trade the 3 swings. Do I think it should bounce here? Absolutely, it's going to bounce because everybody in their mother is going to buy it here. What I don't know is what happens after that bounce. Okay, so we did break the low. So we have a technical break. So, no matter what happens here, we'll be looking to short Bitcoin now if you get a nice 3-wave move off the low. So if we get Bitcoin does something like this, I would like to short a nice three-wave bounce using BITI, BITI, that I showed earlier, or whatever your favorite short vehicle is for you guys that can do that. Because I think it's hard to do that outside the USA. Um, used to be able to do that a lot, but they shut a lot of that down. So there you go, guys. So there it is. So that's that's a big development on our channel. Wow, but it's not surprising. ETH. Oh no, 2000. All right, the bearish ETH chart, guys. I need to show this to you as well. This is very bearish, and again, don't shoot the messenger. But you have three waves, an A and a B here, and then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that finished in C, and then you have an A and a B, and now you need to go down and C in an impulse. And if this was to count, I said we're going to break the trend line, and it looks like we almost broke it in like less than 1 hour. This is very bad for crypto. If this comes down much further, ETH is coming back to, it'll probably break this low and go lower. Again, just reporting the weather forecast that I see. I don't see 5 waves. You didn't make the 5 waves. You have 1, 2, 3. You needed 5. You didn't do it, and now you're melting down. This is going to be too strong to be a 4. If it's a 1, it can't be a 1, 2, 1, 2 because this is too big compared to this. So this is the only count I'm left with. It's a very bearish count. And let's look at the cycles. And a monthly cycle, I think, just probably broke tonight. There you go. So we have a big meltdown. That's why I posted the warning about ETH when I did, because when I did this chart, it scared me a little bit. And I said, hey, I got to get out on a red alert on ETH pairs. So good luck, guys, on that. I pray you're not losing a lot of money because sadly it could get a lot worse. And I don't make the market. Okay, I wanted to do a crypto. Jonathan Groves, thanks again. With war rumors, possibly buy the rumors, sell the news. I never trade on the news, no matter what. The news is just an interesting thing that I like to just kind of, I think of the news as just something that helps me explain like what fundamental investors may be thinking in their minds. Again, as I approach the market like a poker match, like what is the opposition or my what are they thinking? And they use news is used to influence them, not cause the move. They use the news to manipulate the traders. And there was actually an article, I think I retweeted, that was some book that wrote essentially that, until a guy realized news is used to manipulate the trader. News is used, and the articles and everything is used by big whales that have more money than to push the positions and to play tricks and traps. And so I don't trade on news. I just kind of process it a little bit, and I kind of just use it more as my education, entertainment, and then but I don't ever make a trade-in decision off of news. But yeah, there's war rumors, and guess what? The fundamental investor is going to sell probably when they see war and bombs are flying and people are dying in Israel in the next 24 to 48 hours. I'm pretty sure Iran is not going to win. Wuss out. They're going to be coming at them hard. I would imagine they're not going to be a paper tiger because they would lose all respect if they just come weak. They have to come. So when all those headlines come, what do you think the fundamental investor is going to do? They're going to sell stocks. They're going to get out. They're going to be scared. So okay. So you gotta understand that when those news articles hit, they're not going. It isn't like you're not going to see that on the news. So those news articles are coming, and they're going to be used to manipulate people to sell the stock and make it panic, to drive the price lower. And the news will probably be amplified to do even more damage to the markets. So somebody can buy them that wants to buy them at a cheap price, or create other issues, for political means. Emergency rate cuts is possible. The Fed has done that before in the past. They've done it when the markets get too crazy. They could come out and do emergency QE mechanisms, and that happens, guys. again, the market will just rally on that because they love that's like cocaine. And again, the fundamental investor has been conditioned to just buy, unconsciously when they hear that. So they're gonna that will definitely cause a spike in the market, uh, and perhaps that's what happens here. You spike. So I do think that will cause a spike. But the question is, I think that will fail. That rally will fail because ultimately rate decreases typically goes with the crash. They did that in '07, '08. They kept decreasing rates and it just kept crashing. So it didn't really help, right? Until the bazookas came out, where they went all in with their stack to kind of create the situation we have right now, which was the consequence of that. But what I think could also save the market is China stimulus. That's another bazooka out there. Those guys just want to pump money, helicopter money. They even were talking helicopter money, guys, to their citizens. So I think that's another one. So yeah. So just saying, there's a bounce play here, or it goes higher and five extends and this is some of the bearish situations negated and Bitcoin finds a low at 48,000 and everybody's happy and it's back to the moon. So that, like I said, I'm not saying it's all dire. I'm just showing you the uber bear case, and I'm talking more about it because I have to, because we're seeing an intensity build. We're seeing the VIX build higher. So I have to see things as they are, not what I wish them to be. But I do see that there is still hope for the bulls in these areas, and perhaps there's some timely news that will drop to help drive this reversal out to keep this cycle alive. We'll have to wait and see. That's kind of my opinion, Jonathan. Thanks again. All right, let's keep going with super chats. Will, let's take a look at yours. And again, guys, if you're new to following me or you're just tuning in, I definitely unconventional in how I talk about the market compared to people you might listen to. And I'm definitely an acquired taste. I'm not for everybody. And I actually tell people don't follow me. Everyone's like, subscribe, please subscribe. I'm actually the opposite. So I'm like, if what I'm saying is bothering you, please unsubscribe. Don't follow me. You don't need to. You don't have to listen to this. But the people that have listened have done okay, and they do find this entertainment. But I know I'm not for everybody, and it really, I know it rubs a lot of people, not a lot, but a few people the wrong way. It really gets people worked up the way I talk about the markets. But guess what? You can just unsubscribe. All right. So this looks like to me here, 3 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 up, and then you have this here. So let's just say it's 5 up here from this low, and then we came back in 3, and then we made another 5. So that's a good sign. Okay, that's good. That's a good sign for everything. And then we come up in another 5, right? And now we're pulling back in 3. Now, just eyeball, it looks like that's an important low right there. So there's your cycle break. There's your connector. So if this chart's to be valid, you really want this low to hold, or it's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, which it could still rally after that, but then it negates this idea what we have here. Then it's something else. Yeah, you definitely have you don't get good from the weekly, but I mean from the monthly, but yeah, this correction's over. So it's a tough chart. It looks like to me it could be finished. It's ABC correction. So this low has to hold. So the bullish case is intact. Now, if this low breaks, then I would label it as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it's topped here. Then I would go ahead and label this as a 3 swing move. We would just be moving in 3. So I would just label this as like some kind of let's see here, like A, B, C. So I put W here. When some kind of X and Y. And then X would come down in 5. Bounce. And then fail. So maybe bounce pretty high. Fail. Do something like this. Hell, it can even do that even. And then that. So it could be that. So it just depends how this wants to play out. And of course, if we break this low, then this was a big flat that we just had to relabel that this is like a W, X, Y, and an A, B, 1, 2, 1, 2, and it would pretty much be a go to 0. So yeah, if this low breaks, it's pretty much a go to 0 chart. All right, thanks, Will. Let's take a look at CAR. Avis budget. Wow, let's see. I mean, what a crazy spike. Is that really a real price on that? I wonder. You have no divergence, but we'll just move it in threes because there's no divergence, and then we'll move it in threes. We'll just kind of play it that way. There's really no good way to label this chart other than that. You know, and then this is a connector. You know, you get the idea. So now we're in an X wave. Actually, it looks like A. A, B, C, D, E. Down. Let's see if we get this right. We'll put the B here just to be consistent with the RSI. So now we're looking for 5 waves down. So let's just do the wave count and see where we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like you're still in wave 5. It looks like you're in wave 3 of 5. If you push down and erase divergence, then this becomes a 1, 2, and then it'll go much lower. So I would say still caution is warranted. Let's see if there's any possible targets in play. So I'll just kind of draw the box. So it could go pretty deep. It could go back to single digits even. So just, but I think it's something like that. And we'll have to wait and see if it erases divergence. It'll just extend lower. And a nasty 3-wave X wave, right, of W. And then one day you get a dream pump like that. If this doesn't go bankrupt, right? And this, because there's no guarantee, right? You can just keep dropping. But hopefully you'll find support and it will reverse. Small short position. Yeah, I think for your short position, my hunch tells me I bet you're gonna erase divergence. It's just my guess. But you are in kind of the 5th wave, so you do need to be a little bit careful. Now, I don't think it would do this, and then that would morph into a different structure. If it just did a three-wave pump in a flat in a connector, then to me that would change the corrective count a little bit, but that would mean it would fail later. So you would get squeezed, a lot of pain, but just it would reverse eventually if it did that. But I think I'll just label it the classic Elliott wave labeling. And I do think you'll get lower. And really what you're looking for, what you're hoping for as a short is to pull down and erase divergence. And then that should push you down to these areas here. Okay. Anonymous price targets for BCHD. Let's just look at the crypto and see what's going on with that today. So it's melting down like we expected. So the next buy area for Bitcoin Cash is at 245, 220 for bounce play. Definitely a bounce play here. I'll get rid of this for now. I'll have to redo this the long higher. So we know it's going to go lower down there. Okay. Litecoin as well broke this low. So that is invalidated the bullish count. So now we have a connector wave as we melt down. So because of that, we have 3 in a connector. Let's just clean this up a little bit here. See what we got going on in Litecoin. It looks like we'll retest $40. If we break 40, we're going down to 20. And then that big flat is in play, the super duper flat, that the grand super, which we thought was negated, but it looks like the market had fooled everyone. So really hope this low holds at 40. So obviously I would forecast both of those now to go lower. So that based on that, we need to look at this as breaking these lows and being stopped out. So what this means is we bought it here, got 5 out, and then you had to make a decision. You take profit or not. Then you bounce, you come in, and now this is where 2 should bounce. It looks unlikely that's going to happen. So it looks like you're not going to get this setup. So it looks like this was just a big connector that failed. Again, I'm just going to go with the bearish case. So we had a big connector, it failed, you'll be stopped out. You have C. I'm looking. The only way I could label this to make it make sense is to put like maybe put it. Let's just take another look at this. This would have, because this is clearly 5 up. 1, 2. A, B, C. I have to be like a running flat in this connector. There's no other count that works as a running flat as an A, B, C. Again, obviously very not a very elegant looking Elliott wave pattern, but still valid. That could get you down to this area here, and then to be conservative, we'll say here, which is where I was thinking. So I'm looking for like $6, $5 now to possibly find the low. And this needs 3 swings. This could be the one swing, and it could just go right down there quickly. LTCN, let's take a look. We already saw the low break. And we're going low. Yeah, this one could go a lot lower. This one can go a lot lower. Because you still have to bounce and fail. You have to bounce and fail. This is probably just, there's no way to really get a good target on it that I could see. That's not... Again, just looking at the structure, it's probably coming back to $5 or $4 down around this area here. but it will have to have a big bounce and it will fail. So have a big bounce and then fail. Okay. CVN Carvana, remember I warned everyone if you don't get the fifth wave in Carvana, it could be a massive connector and it's essentially a wipeout for Carvana. Let's see if we got that fifth wave or not. Looks like we made the flat. Okay, so I think you're going to be okay in Carvana, but there's some pain coming as this flat plays out. It could drop actually all the way back down to $90, even fill this gap. I think it's going to be painful and kind of like a crash, but that should be supported for one more swing higher if this count is right. But I do believe the flat's in play, and look, we called the short area to the penny. So people took that short. You should be happy because that was the call we made on that. The last update I gave on Carvana, SBIT. Ultra short. Oh, it's a new Bitcoin short. Yeah, let me. So let's take a look. So again, we look for things to move in three waves for bounces. So the would have been 30.15. So the question is, did it truncate? And again, you have a nice big three-wave bounce in an ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like it's finished. So as long as you're above 31.45, we should see a similar three-wave move. But I can't, because there's no data, you just don't know what it's going to look like. It could look something like this. And then it could collapse. It could do that. We don't know. But I would say it's bullish off of 31.33. It's bullish off of this low. And it kind of gave you that clue here. It looks like it's swinging in threes here. So it looks like that's how you would trade this. So it definitely looks like it's got upside, then maybe it pulls back. Probably goes up again. So something like that. All right, good luck on that. Mark V, appreciate the big super chat. Okay, I'll look at these ASX stocks real quick. All right, let's see what we have here. SLX, I think we've done some of these before, all of them. All right, we topped in 5. We had the short, we had the breakout of the wedge, and we had the backtest failure. So it doesn't look good. That was probably an amazing short opportunity for you chart pattern traders using Elliott wave principles. It's probably going to really drop hard now. Where's the target? Usually the target's between wave 4 and 2 in an overlapping wave. So I'd be looking for $38. I'll just kind of draw the box. But it may not, it's not going to, it could go in a straight line, but it could be choppy. We just don't know. But this played out exactly like we expected. Oh, and you wanted me to look at the cycles. So the monthly has not broke. Okay. What does that mean? It means maybe it's a 4 still, but I don't think so. So I think when this happens, more than likely the monthly trend line will break, but it hasn't yet. How about the weekly? So this leg is broken, but you can't learn a lot from the weekly cycle because of the shape of the correction. So there's not much you can learn from it. So I do expect it to go lower. NEU. Okay, if we have 4, it should be a buy in this area. 16 to 12 for the fifth wave. Let's look just to make sure there's not a bearish setup. Yeah, I have a feeling this will find support here for more upside, is what I'm thinking. And then let's take a look. Weekly cycle, it broke here, and then it came up and then reset. So that's why we're correcting the whole leg. And then monthly, not yet, but I expect it to. But I bet it'll bounce, get your fifth, and then break, and then this is your monthly cycle correction. This 4 here. That's what I'm thinking. 88. So our bounce failed. This is super bearish. Let's see what we have here. So we have a shallow connector, so this isn't no longer valid. So this looks like 3 down with a connector that failed. Now this could do something tricky, and we've always talked about this. If it does that, the target will be different. But I'll show you the worst case target. Worst case target is 843, 636. Down there. That's the worst case, but it seems so bearish. Don't be surprised if you get something like this, and then you get the next leg lower. But we have no reason to think that's going to happen, so we have to put in the bearish situation because we broke down. So we'll just kind of leave it like that. Good luck. DRO. Looks like that's a new one. Drone shield. Another big pump. All right, you have a little bit of divergence, so we can label an impulse. That's probably your 5th wave right there. That's probably your 5th. Something like you have to be something like this. So either way, we don't really need to worry about it. It's just it's a 5 wave up. So the question is normally you lose the whole 5th, which is what you're doing here. That's your connector. That gets you down to 77 cents. So I'd be looking for this area as an area to buy, but it could actually, it's actually pretty big area, but it definitely needs more downside. So this is your target, but it's a big target area. But as you can see, you have the wave 5 is here. You'll lose all of it right where the target is. So this somewhere in here is probably the bottom for this. Okay, thanks for the big super chat. AJ 2269, let's take a look at that. One, two, 3, 4, 5. This looks like a big impulse. And then it came back. There's your connector wave. You broke the low. So I would be looking for more downside. Down to 21.23 into this area. Now, this could turn into this flat correction like I've always talked about, where it does something like this. And that could raise the target up. So we don't know yet. We don't have enough data to know. But if it could push higher, I would assume you're going to get something like this and then a reversal later. But if we can drop and break this 32.31, then you're getting to get the push. This is really tough to decide. Like, I can't really, you're not going to really get enough data to know what you're going to get out of it. It just seems it would be typically you see it pump and fail typically, but given the market conditions again, maybe it's just going to drop down. End phase, I think that's end phase. So end phase, we have to back into the low because the other chart is kind of like an unthinkable chart for the company. So again, we're backing into the low. That's the idea on end phase, as long as we're above $95. But once we break 95, we'll probably head into 72. But if we break 72, then it's essentially a catastrophe for the stock because that's a connector for this whole move down. You have a massive top in process. It's probably going all the way back down to these lower areas, which, like I said, it's a catastrophe for the stock. So we back into the low, and until we're stopped out, I guess you can be hopeful. But again, given the market conditions, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing these levels break. But this is what I'll go with now. But I don't really like to buy this sector because I have the tan that should be about to melt down into 20s, just like we have here. And we've called the tan in the 20s for maybe the last year on my channel or longer. I've been telling people, be patient, don't FOMO in solar. and because when oil dumps, which it's doing now, solar will go with it. The green stocks are going to go with it. That's how it trades with oil. Oil goes down, these go down. No one wants to buy energy efficient anything when oil is cheap, when energy is cheap. That's how it always trades. How's First Solar doing? Again, looking for this level. Someone on my channel thought this was crazy talk. I bet in a few months they won't be thinking it's so crazy. That's what I'm saying. I just report the weather, guys. I don't make the market. I can't make these prices go up and down. I just see I just read what's in front of me, and sometimes the weather's bad and it's just like a hurricane's coming. I'm saying be prepared, get ready, and you don't prepare, you lose all your money. You can't blame the weatherman because, but you want to be mad at the weatherman, I guess. But someone was really mad about this First Solar report, and I was like, guys, I'm sorry, I just see it lower because I see the tan lower, and I think it's gonna play out. But anyway, all right, let's keep going. Anonymous, MIGI. Yeah, and I feel bad, guys. Everything, is breaking down. I wish, like I said, I wish it was different, but again, we just can't control these things. So we know it's going lower. The target is tough on this because the first leg is so long. You see how big this is, and you have very little room to go. So there's only one target that I can think of that's still bullish, and that would be 58 cents with a low at 46 cents. There, very tight level, very small window. It has to find support there and erase divergence. So it's about to do that. That's good. That's good. So if it can erase divergence and find support here, it may be saved. Just saved. If we break this low, It's going to go much lower. That the target for that would be 0. It's a go to 0. I wouldn't want to trade it anymore. Okay, so good luck with that. But I mean, there's a small window here. I think you can try to pick it up and play it alongside. Wolf, let's take a look at Wolf here. Wolf, we called this fifth wave. We called it's coming down to 175. It's a pretty simple chart. Unless, again, I said watch that rip higher, the ABC, but then you could short this at $5 or just at like 480, and then it brings our target up a little bit. But I'm going to the worst case scenario. You broke the low already. You already see massive connector. People sold into this like crazy. That's what this tells me is, man, people were dumping this on that pump like you wouldn't believe. So that's what happened. Silver. Now, silver is, let's see what it's doing tonight. Silver's in a very critical juncture because it's got to hold this low at 27. If this low doesn't hold, guys, you need to be very defensive in the metals, especially silver. I'm just telling you guys because, again, bigger picture, the unthinkable scenario could be playing out in silver as a big flat in this wave 2, where this was W, X, Y, and A, B, C. And we come back, retest 17, could go even as low as 14. Massive deflationary crash. The first warning sign of that would be breaking that pivot, but the big indicator will be breaking this trend line at 23 without making a wave 5. So if you're not using stop losses and you're hoping and praying, you could lose all your money in silver. So I'm just saying, and it doesn't look good right now. It just doesn't look good. So we need to keep pushing higher. Now it looked like to me we had 5 swings up here. It looks like to me we should get another swing higher. I'm not saying it's going to melt down. When I look at this structure, it looks like to me we could swing up one more swing at least. That's what it looks like to me. I'll actually be really surprised if we melt down in silver and this doesn't hold. But it's possible I can be wrong with this chart. So that's why I would be very conservative and just be careful. Again, you're trying to pick up this last little bit, or you could lose it all. So I'm just saying, a lot of the money in silver was made down here up on this pump. That's where I made my money, right? We already made our money. Get defensive. All right, I'm ringing the register. I don't like what I'm seeing. When we broke this low, I was like, I don't like what I'm seeing. I'm out. I'll take my profits. Because I don't need this last little bit and then lose all my profits. That's how I trade. So I got something to show for it. Now, here, this 5 has to play to negate the flat. You have to get this 5, but it doesn't look good. I mean, it's not looking good tonight. I'm not going to lie. Okay, Sava, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that. We've done that one before. It's a name that's familiar. Let's take a look at Sava. What a pump. Let's see. So we're still in 2 is what happened. So it did a massive flat correction in 2 and an A, B, C. So we'll be expecting a massive reversal here soon at any moment. So we got this pump as it again the market played the market loves this pattern, guys. It loves this pattern. Okay, but I'd be looking for this to fail. Where if I was brave enough, I would short it at 37.26, right in that area. That's probably the best. This is probably the best area to look for the reversal. So it doesn't look like it's there yet. So maybe it could push higher. I wouldn't short it here. I mean, it could truncate in reverse, but I would expect it to kind of finish out somewhere in this area. Okay. Let's go to the next super chat. Scratch. All right, let's type that one in. Or oh, is that like a crypto? Let me see here. Uh, you know, if you could put in exactly what you want, because I see a bunch of things. Like I assume this is what you want, this coin. I'll just wait in the chat to see what you say. I'll just wait and see what you say here, but I assume that's what you want there. And I'll come back to you if, oh, minerals. Okay, Aurora Minerals. All right. Let me type that in. Okay, there it is. There it is, ORA. There it is. I bet this is it. ORATO. I'm gonna go with this one, and I'll look in the chat, and if you tell me it's not the one, I'll change it. So you have a massive extended fifth wave here. You retraced a lot of it on the TSX. Is that what we have here? Let me see here. Let's see here. There we go. All right. Back to that. All right, kind of a same looking chart. So we'll just chart it bullish off that low as a bear sequence, as a bull sequence. It looks like it's 3 up. It's corrective, this bounce. So if that's the case, it may make another swing higher. It looks like that's what it's trying to do here. But this is really tough. It's in an area that it could go either way. It can go either way. So it's like a 50-50 coin flip. It can either push up for another big move higher, or it could take another move down and bounce, and I'll show you that area. So it could come back down to 294. I would almost expect that to happen, and then look for a bounce out of that. All right, good luck on that. All right, next super chat. Let's take a look here. Does the Fed use Elliott wave analysis? No, they don't. A lot of fundamental investors, almost everyone I know that's a fundamental investor, thinks it's a joke. They do. And a lot of technicians think fundamental investors don't matter either. So I think it's just a tool. I think Elliott waves is a tool, but yeah, that I know of. I doubt the Fed. I don't think the algorithms either use them at all. But you can see how scary right they can be, and I doubt a computer programmer or a trader in a high frequency firm is like, oh, we need a fifth wave. They're probably not thinking about Elliott waves as they program their programs. I think they're thinking about Fibonacci levels, support and resistance lines, that type of thing. But I think the Elliott waves is just kind of an elegant thing that works, that seems to work, that people have been able to develop and use, that measures. It's like a mathematical way. It's more of like a graphical way to measure sentiment. It's a way to measure sentiment, which the market is sentiment driven mostly. Some people think only, so that's why it works a lot, because it really measures sentiment. So then Crypto Mickey, technical bounce come in on the futures. Okay, so I did say the NASDAQ should have a bounce coming, but it's got a lot of technical challenges ahead. So when we get down to 1747, 17296, I definitely expect some reaction here. But look, so again, look at this leg. You have one, two, hold on. Did I have this labeled? I have it labeled wrong. Hold on. Sorry, WXY. Something like that. Okay, is that right? Let me make sure I have it labeled right for you. I usually don't chart the futures. No, I was right the first time. Okay, so we have this bounce that corrects this whole cycle. You need a bounce. You don't have a bounce. So let's just say it goes straight down here. You're gonna get a bounce, but that bounce is probably gonna fail, and you're probably gonna go deeper. Okay. Now, if we can bounce here, and it's unknown, right? Maybe a bounce here. We'll look at the shorter cycles and see what's going on. It hasn't erased divergence, but look at you see this right there, and you see that right in here. That's probably 1, 2. Okay. That was your bounce, and it already failed. So you're probably pushing down in a wave 3 right now, a 3, and you'll finish 5. So my guess, here's my guess. Here's my guess on what this is going to do. You have a 1 here and a 2 here. You're going to come down in 3 and 4 and 5 and make 5 down. I think you're going to have your bounce. But that'll be A. You'll get B. I don't know how high it will go. And then you'll get another leg lower. That's what it's looking like now. Now, I was expecting a more significant bounce, something like more, but it doesn't look like it's happening. It just doesn't look like it's happening. We can hope all we want. We have to trade what we have in front of us, and what we have in front of us looks like a wave 3 coming into existence tonight. If we could take, let's go. My bad. There we go. Got to take that out. Now, yeah, it's getting too long. It's like this is too big for wave 5. It just doesn't. I think this is the way to label it. Now, I had this earlier as a 4 and a 5, right? I think I had this earlier, but now it's getting, well, oh shit, So now I have to relabel this, and it's probably was something like that, and then this was your bounce, and it's just going down. That's how I'd label it. All right, guys. John, let's go to yours. Affirm. Affirm was another one I kept you out of buy-in. Hopefully that worked out for people. We are in the first support area. So I said with Affirm, there were 2 areas where we could reverse. One was here, and the other one was more bearish down here. Let's go with the more bearish one given the market conditions, and we're going to look for the extension and why. It was hard to say at the time, but it looks like we'll extend and why. So I'll be looking for $16 somewhere in this area to finish the correction. It's pretty simple, straightforward correction to me. 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3 down. So it should kind of be like straight down from here. Okay? All right, next super chat, Les L. Let's take a look at S. All right, let's look at that. Sentinel-1. All right, let's take a look at Sentinel-1 here. Sentinel-1, what do we got going on here? So there's not enough data to really gauge if we have a good bottom here, but I don't like how this looks to me. It looks very corrective. Yeah, it just looks so corrective to me. So the question is B going to extend or not? And that means we'll see extend. There's really no way to know for sure other than looking at this wave here. Now that was good. That's a good sign that it could extend. So let's just plan for an extension in C for now because we have a nice three-wave move. Now if this was 5, I wouldn't have labeled that way. So we'll just call that a 1-2. Again, I don't know why this would be bullish and everything in the market's crashing, but you'll have to just ignore that fact, I guess, not care. But I'm just going to label the chart as I see it. So you have that bullish divergence. So it looks like to me you have some kind of 1-2 here, 3, 4, 5. And down in 3. And right in the buy area. So as long as you're above 1996, well, you see you haven't reversed out, so it could still be in the corrective phase. So if you're buying it long here, you know you don't really have a good pivot. The best pivot is all the way down here at 1422. So you may want to let it bounce and then pull back and go long against wherever it finds wherever that bounce was. Or you could just like take a chance and buy it here and put a stop like at 1893, 1875 if it wants to fall through, waterfall, and try to play for this next wave higher. But that's the only long play I can see. It does look like long is the right side to be on this trade right now until we break this low here. So as long as this low is intact, it's more, you would want to play the long side. What is this company? Oh, cybersecurity. Okay, well, maybe that's why they're bullish, right? They're going to get business from CrowdStrike or something. Okay, good luck on that. Anonymous, Irene and Hut. Sure, let's take a look at that. I think we called the short in Irene, and that's been paying off. I think we got that one right. Yeah, nailed that short. Price target, it's tough to say because it could go all the way back down. But typically, again, you want to see it. First, we need to decide what is the pattern we're looking at. It's a corrective pattern. So because of that, it could actually break this low at $1. It may go all the way down. Like there's no guarantee, so there's really no way to get a target on this. But I think, I mean, if you look, there's your support line at 448, right? A lot of like if I just draw this line through all these points, I mean, there's probably going to be a support there for some kind of reaction higher. But don't be surprised if that fails and this low breaks, because this is really a corrective structure, which, again, we called a short and it's playing out. Hut here. Hut was another one here. I warned about this shallow connector. Unfortunately, it looks like that happened. So the target now in Hut is 803, 696 right there. And let's just look at this again. And it is a connector, but barely. So yeah, it's got a long way to go down. Okay, thanks for the super chat. S1 Dearburn. So Baidu. So to understand China, you got to understand the Hang Seng and where that is heading. Let's see here. Oh, so the Hang Seng capitulated. Looks like we almost hit our buy area tonight. And again, I'm not following the news. I don't know if China dropped some news or something. But this was an area when we get to the Hang Seng in this area, it could reverse higher for a big move higher, which would be maybe China stimulus. Now, if this doesn't hold, then it's coming back to retest this low, and I wouldn't want to buy anything. So you have to believe China's going to bounce out of this. You got to believe that, okay? But if you don't believe that, then you don't want to buy anything, any of these stocks that I'm like. You don't want to buy Baidu. But I'll show you Baidu's chart, and then you'll have to decide which side you want to be on the trade. Let's take a look. So I hadn't looked at this in a while, and right now that's a very bad sign that this low broke. Let's go back to the daily. It's okay, actually. It's okay. It's not that bad. We could still be pushing down in Y. We have to hold this low at 73. So you're running out of room to the downside, but it's still valid. But you have to take this divergence out. So you have to take that weekly divergence out, and you got to hold this low, and then you got it too. If you break it, yeah, it may bounce, but it's going to be a meltdown stock. It'll melt down because the top is broke, the 2 is done, and you could just use your imagination how low it will go. I wouldn't want to trade it anymore. That's got to be a very bad side for the market, for China. So this is very important technically to hold that low. Lab up is probably getting destroyed with the Russell going down. If the Russell's peaked, you definitely don't want to own lab up. You need to dump that. But let's look at it. So we made that 5th wave. We have 3. So again, it could be a corrective move. So let's see here. So this count could be corrective. Let's see how it goes. Oh wow. Yeah, it's done going up. It's a corrective move. So there's no more bullish advance. It's probably gonna go lower from this low on. So I'd be looking to take the lab down trade on any pumps on this. Now this was just a corrective bounce that ended, and now it should probably go down and break this low, is what I'm thinking in this correction. You'll come back to retest this low here. And it makes sense with the Russell. I think the Russell's peaked. So I do think it's going to go lower. I think the stochastics show that. The daily cycle's got to come all the way down now. You'll probably break the weekly cycle as well when that happens. So yeah, I'd be looking to go lab down now. I'd be looking to buy lab down on any pullbacks. So lab down. So you may have an entry and lab down right here at 632, 608 for more upside. So that's what I'd be doing. Looking at this chart. It just was too extreme. It should have bounced here, it didn't, and now it's just going to melt down. TZA I think is also a good buy here. I think it hit a buy area that we had a long time ago on this, and we don't have a confirmation of a reversal yet, but I think we'll get that this week when we break out. I think we'll have this weekly cycle breakout. I think this will happen, and we'll get the confirmation out. So yeah, this one looks like I heard there was massive volume pouring into this the other day. That's what I heard on the internet. So we need to break out. We have not got the breakout though. But if the Russell has peaked like we all believe, then this is where you want to buy, and really it's really a good buy here because there's you'll put your stop at 1262 and just see if it runs, see if what happens. SEO, I gave update on that. That's one I have my own eye on. For now, let's see what we've got going on. So SEO, I was looking for a pullback to fill this gap and then higher up to 2150 at least. But we could also be really tricky if oil wants to pump because of the war situation. We get another flat and then get another buy opportunity at 1578. So I don't know how it's going to play out. It just depends. Depends on a lot of factors. Okay. But for now, if we do pull back down to 17, I'll be taking a piece of that because I just like this setup. I like the higher high sequence. I just like this chart. For a scalp trade, I won't be looking for like the moon. I'm just looking for, 17 to 20 bucks, $3 on that, and then dump it. That's what I'm looking for on that trade. If I can pull this back, if I can get a good entry, I like that trade. All right, JR, how you doing? All right, NWRN. Sure, let's take a look at that. Some pharma company on the Swiss exchange, all right. So anytime I see a chart like this, like I always say, and one we made a lower low here, that's very dangerous. But we'll chart it bullish off the all-time low, and then just keep until the market changes our direction. But that looks like an impulse, so that's always a good sign. That means we should see more upside. We should see more upside. This correction looks somewhat incomplete to me. So I would look for another push lower down to like 567 into this area in 3, and then a push lower, or probably that's your 3, so probably like here and then a push down, and then see if you get lucky. This looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that's good for 5. Okay. So that's how that looks. Thanks again for the super chat, man. Oh, Boeing and Amgen. Yeah, I'll look at that. Boeing was in a dire situation because we had some key levels that had to hold at Boeing, and I hadn't looked at it since. Okay, this low has to hold. This is like, guys, this is like an Intel play. Okay, we all remember what happened to Intel. This low has to hold. If it doesn't, it's catastrophic for Boeing. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It definitely means we're coming back down to 114, but possibly lower, where we eventually had the final bottom at $48, and that means X is in. So don't get complacent on it. This needs to hold. Now this looks like 5 up to me, but maybe it's corrective, maybe it's not. It's so tight I could have it labeled wrong. But ultimately this has to hold because this move corrected the whole cycle. It will definitely push lower and fall. So it's got to hold. But it's pushing lower. It's not holding. It's not. So my forecast on Boeing is be very cautious. Does it have any earnings coming up like Intel did, or did it already happen? Looks like it already happened. Okay, so you're good. You got through that. So you need this to hold. This has to hold. If it can hold and hold this level, then my chart I have plays out. Plays out. Maybe we need to build planes for war, coming up or something. I don't know. I don't know why it would go up, but I'm just showing you the chart I'm seeing. Yeah, Amgen. I haven't looked at Amgen in a while. Have it building out this wave 3. Let's just kind of see. Again, bigger picture. Amgen's pretty bullish, guys. Let's go with a more conservative count, just because it's probably the wise thing to do here. So we'll label this as a 3, a 4. It looks like it needs one more high for 5 with the divergence. So we'll just, again, we're going to label it conservative for now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I would be looking for a pullback. I don't think it's this 3. I think it's just would be another 1, 2. It would come back down to 245. Okay, so it's a more conservative. I don't want to be aggressive given where the market is right now, but this does look incomplete. It looks like it needs another high. If we don't get that, then you're like a flat, but then that's too big for 4. So then you have to start thinking, could this whole thing be a flat? But I think then it probably pushed up too high. Well, it's still technically okay. So either way, more down. I think there's more downside coming. It's just a question of what is this, and I'm just going with the most likely scenario. But I could force a lot more bearish scenario. I think I'll just go with something like this for now. But this looks incomplete. It looks like it needs to still go a little bit higher. Okay. All right, Bama. Let's go back to Eris ARMN. Let's take a look at that. I think we've had that before here. Oh no, we haven't done that yet, it looks like. Oh, it's just not sorted or something. All right, whatever. We'll just go back up. There it is. All right, let's see how this is going. So we did get the push higher. So you erase divergence here. So this was another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you would put the 3, the 4, and the 5 here. See, that's what happens. You never know when it's going to erase divergence. So now we're in 2. All right, so we're correct in the whole swing. And I'll just leave these over here for now. So we're correct in the, we should be correct in this whole impulse right there. Yeah, the weekly cycle correction. So you're in a big correction. It looks like it's just getting started. I would be looking for like 339, somewhere in this area. But it could take time to play out. The first area where it could bounce would be right here at like 385, 370. But it seems like that bounce is going to fail because it just it needs time. So it may fail and go lower, one more low. Okay. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. I'm just going to scan just chats. I don't have time to go through all. I appreciate all the viewers on today. DraftKings is close to buy area, but it still needed more downside. I'll comment on the ones that I have. Palantir and Palantir looks like it's in a flat correction. I would expect. I would be surprised it goes up. I think it will be going down, but that's just my guess. China did just hit the buy area, and look, I think the market was turning, right? Isn't that crazy? Like, well, we got a little bit of a bounce, and again, not too excited yet, but I would have liked to want to see it go a little bit deeper. Let's look at the divergences here. Okay, so the daily hasn't gone, so it's got to go lower. So it's got to take this divergence out. So. Yep, can't get all giddy yet. We can't get all excited yet. We need more down. It does need to go lower. I thought it was a little early. It seemed a little early but yeah, This whole move has to, that's what I'm saying. So we are due a move out. I just don't know if it's going to be this big move or not, but we should get a bounce or something. Will I buy anything tomorrow? If I can get oil to pump, I'd like to buy SCO. Maybe Lab Down. I'd like. I may like to buy TZA. I'm like, as you notice, these are all bearish funds. I may like to buy a short Bitcoin fund, BITI. Those would be the things I have my eye on. It's kind of like your bearish ETFs and also the VIX, but I doubt the VIX is going to give us a buy opportunity given what's happening tonight. I doubt we'll see any opportunity in the VIX, but God knows what happens in the next, I guess 8 or 9 hours. Who knows? But that's what I'd be looking to buy. I think I'm not looking to buy any equities on the long side given where we are. We're like, hey, we're in a hurricane, but I don't know if it's a category 5 or a category 2. I'm not going to go outside and look and tell you. Watch me get blown away. I'm going to just stay in the house. So I'm going to be defensive and I'll look for bearish setups. That's what I'll be looking at personally. But I may not take those trades I just mentioned, so don't copy me blindly. And I always can leave the trade at any moment for any reason. And sometimes I do that. I change my mind. I did that on ARM. I tried to do a little dip buy on ARM, and I was like, yeah, this is stupid. I'll just get rid of it. So, yeah, if we can get a bounce, I'd like to get a short opportunity. I'm not on Discord. I don't have that set up. But anyway, guys, I've got to wrap it up here, and yeah, I think what was unusual is how tough Bitcoin dropped on our channel. I was not expecting that. I thought that would hold like a little bit. It just gave it up too easy almost. So that's a warning sign. That gave that up too easy. That was too easy for the market, for the bears. I wonder if the bulls are scared. I wonder if the bulls are just stepping away. I wonder. We're very bad. And then look at ETH. Holy crap. Yeah, somebody got really panicky. Damn. Yeah, it's something out there tonight. Nasdaq's, yeah, like I said, Nasdaq should be extending in this third wave. I'm looking for this divergence to get taken out. Yeah, it's bad out there. It's storm. It's a storm out there. But you guys, this selling is nothing. All right, I'll leave you guys with this. Big picture, this selling is nothing. Don't worry about this selling. This is just when we're down 2,000, 3,000 points. Hey, then it's time to this may be something, but I think it will take time to build to that kind of levels of selling. But I would say that we haven't had big sell-offs, so people are scared, and it is like freaking out. There's a lot of freakouts out there, so just be careful too of who you're listening to. We do expect a bounce, right? We do expect a bounce here, and if you're lucky, a wave 4 bottom, but in the TQQ, we're expecting a bounce, right? So in semis, so we're not going to get too all like, oh my God, it's over, it's the end of the world. But when we need to start seeing some 3,000-4,000 point session downs. Then it's like, guys, it's over. The grand super cycle ended, and you need to protect your cash. Now, I would just say right here, this sell-offs is just the markets. We're just not used to it, but this happens all the time. This type of thing used to happen all the time. 2016, 2015, I'd wake up, we'd be down 500, 600 points. I mean, this happens. So this is like this is nothing. This is nothing. But it is nice to see some selling. We haven't seen some selling in a long time. So it is kind of cool because it will give opportunity, I think, in the sectors. Like I said, I like to hopefully get big opportunities in energy, uranium, gold miners, silver, gold, commodities, and possibly crypto. That's still a wild card on how that's going to react. All right, guys, that's all I'm going to leave you with, and talk to you later. Good